What is going on, guys? Welcome to this episode of Odds and Ends. Welcome to 2021. I hope everybody's having a great New Year's Day. Today we're going to take a look at all the games that I beat in 2020. So every year, we do a video of all the games that we beat in the previous year. It's awesome. It's kind of like a little snapshot of what you did. You know, your gaming accomplishments, your gaming goals, or whatever it may be. But every year I play through like Mega Man and Contras and Last of Us and stuff like that. Those are not on this list, okay? These are all just brand new 30 games that either I never played before or for some reason I just never finished them, whether I put them down or they were too difficult and I couldn't finish them. And at the end, I have my top 5 games I beat in the previous year. So we'll follow suit. We'll do the exact same thing. We'll go through the games. The last 5 games will be my top 5 games for 2020. We did have 4 games that I do not own physical. So the first one was Super Princess Peach on the DS. Standard Mario platforming, light puzzle solving type game. And, you know, it was okay. It was a good game. But it wasn't a game that I was going to keep in my collection, so I sold that on my eBay store. Dead or Alive 4 on the Xbox 360. I like to play a couple fighting games every year. I like fighting games, but I don't get into it like some people do, where they know frame rates and specific hitboxes and, you know, all that stuff. Haley Wars, that was a recommendation from Video Game Lover 58. It's on the Sega Game Gear. It is a shooter, and it is very, very good. So if you have the means to get that game physical, which I think it was only released like in PAL or Japan, but, you know, if you have an emulator, you can definitely play it that way. That's how I played it. And then the last game that I don't own physical, Soldier Blade for the TurboGrafx 16. Excellent shooter. I would easily put that I would put that in my top 5 shooters of all time. Just the soundtrack, the gameplay, everything is just spot on. And honestly, it almost made me go out and buy a TurboGrafx 16 and a bunch of games, but we showed excellent discipline. We didn't spend that kind of money, but Soldier Blade on the TurboGrafx 16, excellent game. Alright, so I apologize. These are the physical games. For some reason, this clip got lost. I accidentally deleted it, whatever. But I was like, wait a minute, I think I'm short on games here. So I had to go back and find out which games I was missing. Found them. Here we go. Alright, so this is the one that you could probably give me a hard time about, because I've already beaten Ninja Gaiden in the past. I've actually beat it with not using a continue, I guess, but being able to beat it with, you know, your 3 guys or whatever. But Ninja Gaiden, what a great game. One of my most nostalgic games. I love playing this game. It's one of those games I like to play every year. This year, we completed a no-death run of this game, which, as some of you know, is quite challenging. So I added it to the list. I live streamed it on Twitch, and I actually have that video posted down below if you want to check that out, with some CM Retro Pro strats in there. Pandemonium 2. I played through the first Pandemonium game last year or the year before. It's a 2D, 2.5D platformer game, very like bouncy, like Donkey Kong Country, where everything bounces a lot, and just very colorful, very fun game to play. If you only get one Pandemonium game on the PlayStation 1, get this one for sure. They just made it better, you know. It was a lot easier to sort of play. The first game you had to kind of find all these it was weird. But yeah, Pandemonium, very good. I'm going to play a Ratchet and Clank game every year until I run out of Ratchet and Clank games. Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. Now, I got hooked on this series. I never played a Ratchet and Clank game until I played the PS4 version. But Going Commando was the first PS2 game that I played in the series. And again, it's one of those, PlayStation 2 staples. You know, Jak and Daxter and Sly Cooper and that kind of stuff. So what's really cool is that in that game you can... if you have a save file from the original Ratchet and Clank game, you can upload the weapons, which is really cool. It's a nice touch, a nice feature to have in the game. But so far, man, that game that's probably my second favorite Ratchet and Clank game, because I've only played 2. Played through the first Bushido Blade game last year, played through Bushido Blade 2 this year. Squaresoft on the PlayStation is, they make great titles. I think we can all agree to that. Bushido Blade is one of those fighting games where there's no life bar. Instead, if you can hit a critical hit, like like a decapitation shot or a shot to the face, you can kill your opponents in one strike, which makes it interesting because you want to play a certain amount of defense, but at some point you have to attack, you know, and you may let your guard down and be open to a critical hit and you could die. But I think that game is a lot better because it added in a better story element. Like there are times when going from one scene to like the next scene, there may be a small stage in between where there's enemies that you have to dispatch before you get to that boss fight or that next bad guy fight, major bad guy fight. You can make choices, like you're in this little village or something and some other guy runs off and you have the option to chase after him or wait and see what happens, and it kind of changes the story. And maybe you could play as that character. The guy that runs off, you can play as him, which, you know, that's how you unlock. I think there's like 8 characters that you can unlock, which is crazy because I think you only have 6 to start with. But yeah, Bushido Blade, again, if you can only get your hands on one Bushido Blade game on the PS1, I definitely would recommend Bushido Blade 2. No doubt about it. So I want to talk about this game right now, and because I'm talking about it now, obviously it didn't make it into my top 5, but it is The Last of Us Part 2. I got the collector's edition. I'm all in on the Last of Us franchise. If they make 10 more of these games, I will buy every single one of them, you know, day one at launch. Only the 3rd game I've pre-ordered from GameStop ever. Metal Gear Solid 2, Spider-Man on PS4, Last of Us Part 2. So, yeah, I love the franchise. I like the new touches that they added this year, or with this game. You can go prone and all that other stuff. Some of the more sneakier gameplay mechanics. But the dodge mechanic was a little iffy at first. I don't know if they did a patch or an update for that. And then, you know, obviously this is like a 40 or 50 hour game where you got Abby and Ellie and you're going on this collision course to this point where they meet each other. And I'm trying not to spoil it for those of you that haven't played it yet, but essentially as you're moving this character along, then you play as Abby, then you play as Ellie, you kind of play as Abby until you guys meet, right? But the whole time you're trying to advance through, you know, current time, but they keep making you play scenes from like the past, like these little side sequences. And I think they could have cut off, you know, 10 to 15 hours of gameplay if they would have made that stuff like DLC or maybe like non-critical side missions, you know, stuff like that. But I do love The Last of Us, and I'm happy I bought the collector's edition. I'm happy that I got the opportunity to play through it twice. And if it's a game that you're into, you know, check it out. You know, if you played the first one, definitely recommend playing the second one. But yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts specifically on The Last of Us Part 2, because it was a controversial type game when it came out, and you know, game of the year, and with some things happening within the game that were leaked, and Naughty Dog working their people 37 hours a day, you know, and not feeding them or giving them water, you know, so just craziness. That's all I really have to say about The Last of Us in this video. I do have other videos talking about The Last of Us where Uncle Strange and I live stream. Those videos are down below if you want to see those. But let's just get back to the list. It's been a Star Wars kind of year with The Mandalorian, and I watched the Clone Wars for the first time, and the movie coming out and all that stuff. But I finally got around to playing through the original Star Wars Battlefront. I think this game holds up pretty well today. And yeah, there's a historical campaign where you can, you know, Galactic Empire stuff, and then there's a Clone Wars campaign. So we played through both of those, had a blast. It's sort of a last man standing, capture the flag type game. Very, very good, and highly recommend it. I'll probably play through the second Battlefront game this year on PlayStation 2, just so I can say I played through it. Mobile Light Force on the PlayStation 1. Now, I remember, and I'm not even sure how this guy did this, but it was like an auction where the starting bid was $24.99, or you could make a best offer. So I'm like, okay. So I offered him 20 bucks, and he declined it, and then I was the only one to bid $24.99, so I had to pay $5 more, you know. But this game gets a bad rap too. Obviously, the cover art is not indicative of what the game really is. It is a shooter, and this one happens to be Gunbird. So when Gunbird came over to the United States, on the Dreamcast it was Gunbird, and on the PlayStation 1 it was Mobile Light Force. Mobile Light Force 2 on the PlayStation 2, then the series became the Shikigami no Shiro, or the Castle Shikigami series, which is an excellent bullet hell shooter, so I highly recommend those games. Mobile Light Force, though, I mean, it's it's a little dated. It's fun to play. It looks great, but there are the issues that are commonly found in those types of game where there's slowdown, or like because it's a scroller. Sometimes when you get to the boss fight, there's an audio, like the boss says something, and it's kind of clippy. You know what I mean? So it's kind of dated in that regard. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But it's still an excellent game if you can get your hands on it. Another franchise first for me this year. I've never played a game in this franchise before, and I thought, you know what, I am going to play this. I have it on the PlayStation 3 in the collection, but I wanted to play Sly Cooper, the first one, on the original PlayStation 2 on the hardware. And what a great game. It was so much fun. And you know, I'm kind of disappointed I'd never played one before, but action platformer with some puzzle elements to it. I like the cel-shaded graphic style of the game. I don't know if you can tell that. Most of you guys know what Sly Cooper is. But again, another fantastic game. Another game I was really happy to play and sort of get stuck on the franchise and start from the beginning. And I can't wait to play another Sly Cooper game this year. Had a Sega Saturn game make it onto the list. We played through Astal. Awesome platformer on the Sega Saturn. It looks amazing, plays amazing, and yeah, it's a short game. I think it was only like 6 or 7 levels. So, you know, keep that in mind if you're gonna buy that game, because it's kind of expensive. We went through a real big Nintendo kick this year, guys. Kid Niki Radical Ninja. Graphically, it doesn't hold up, but it is still a very good game because the gameplay is all spot on. You know, like you have this like baton or this sword or something that spins, and yeah, it was just really fun to play. And with Unlimited Continues, you should be able to beat that. Pick this bad boy up. It is a Sammy title. You may see a couple more Sammy games on this list, but it is Twin Cobra for the NES, a shooter game. You guys know I love my shooters. Didn't take that long to beat that. It is a tough shooter. I'd say medium difficulty on that. If you sat down and really played it and learned it, you could beat it in a day. You know, it's sort of a day game. And then the last game, another shooter. Man, what is it about beating childhood games? You know, like games you had as a kid that you never beat or you haven't played, you know, and maybe you lost it through time, you sold it, whatever it was. But this year we played through Solar Striker on the Nintendo Game Boy. I remember playing this in my original Game Boy back in the day. My mom would take us on car rides to, you know, Grandpa and Grandma's house, or, you know, just sitting in the basement playing this on the Super Nintendo Game Boy adapter guy. You know, we would play that and we'd, you know, try all the different color schemes. But yeah, what a beautiful game. It's cheap, and again, it's not very long. It's like 6 or 8 levels, something like that. All right, moving along. It's funny, I was playing another Nintendo game that you're going to see in a little bit, but I was watching Captain Algebra's live stream, and he was live streaming this game, Batman, for the original Nintendo. Had this game as a kid, couldn't get past level 2, but you know, and I didn't really know a lot about this game other than what I had played, you know, and kind of whatever, but all the reviewers say. But Captain Algebra mentioned, like, yeah, I mean, with Unlimited Continues, you just learn the levels, you know what I mean? So I was like, after I finished the other game I'll show you, we finished Batman, and I couldn't be more happy. Yeah, it was a great game. Sunsoft, man. Sunsoft, the music. When people talk about Nintendo, you know, it's usually like the first party games, Mario, Zelda, and then Konami, Capcom, you know, that kind of stuff. But I think Sunsoft gets left in the dust a little bit, even though they were a great publisher. Picked this up at Maxine's Bargain Box for $15. Another Sunsoft game, Gremlins 2. Great top-down action platformer game. Pretty difficult towards the last level and a half or so. Strikers at 1945 on the PlayStation 1. Last year I played through the arcade game on MAME, and this year we were able to play through the PlayStation 1 version. Really awesome shooter. Again, it's one of those shooters where it's kind of affordable. It's like a $30 game, so if you're into that kind of stuff, definitely check out that game. It's really fun, and it feels like the arcade game, you know what I mean? Like the explosions are big, and you get those crunchy sounds when you hit stuff like that. You know, when you hit like buildings that take, you know, 5 hits, it's like bing, 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 boom. You know, it's pretty awesome stuff. All right, we're going to draw some fire right now. Okay. Gotta look around, make sure no one's watching. I'm gonna say something pretty controversial right now, and I don't want you guys to get mad at me. I don't even know if I want to say it on the internet because it's gonna be here on the internet machine forever. I played through this game when I was a kid, lukewarm to it. Tried to play through it as a younger adult. Still kind of lukewarm, man, whatever. Never beat it. This year we finally beat DuckTales on the NES. Now, is DuckTales on the NES, is it a good game? Yes. It plays like it should. The music is mostly good except for that annoying moon music, which is like ear piercing. But, yeah, I mean, it's fun to play, but it's not worthy of the godlike status that some people give it. I probably wouldn't put that in my top 50 Nintendo games of all time, let alone in the top 10 or the top 5, which is crazy to me. But I know I can see you guys typing. Yeah, I'm kind of doing a 180 on DuckTales. I didn't like it, and now it's just okay. So, I don't know. I see you guys down in the comments. DuckTales is the greatest game of all time. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, fine. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's cool. Moving along then, another Sammy title. Picked this game up this year for the PlayStation 2, Seven Samurai 20XX. It's like a Dynasty Warriors type game where you fight off hordes of enemies. Now you can get like different weapons and all that stuff, but on normal mode with my regular weapons, I was able to make it through the whole game. I think it was like 6 or 8 hours, so it wasn't too terribly long. Yeah, it was pretty good. You know, if you see it out there, pick it up. Star Fox 64 3D. Now, yeah, I beat Star Fox on the N64 plenty of times, but this one is in 3D. Has traditional controls, and it has this really cool gyroscopic control system where, like, if you're looking at your console and you move, you know, to the left and to the right and you up and down, your view in the cockpit changes, which is really cool. I think it added a really awesome element to the game that, you know, you'd say like it breathed new life into the game. It was just fun to play. You know, it's Star Fox 64. You shoot, and you know you got the frog guy and the rabbit guy and the falcon guy and the pig guy and the wolf guy and all different kinds of guys. You know, Cyvarrior Delta for the PS4. It's a bullet hell shooter. Now, if you see this game out there for like $5, pick it up. Don't pay more than $5 for it, because it's really not worth it. It was kind of boring. I think there's 2 modes. There's like an old mode and then like a newer mode. Something, whatever it was. But it's also sort of a bullet grazer, where the closer you are to the enemy fire, the more damage your return fire does. So if you're into those types of games, then it's okay. But you're going to beat that the first time you play through it, because you get unlimited continues, and then you're going to do what I did. I played through it twice on each mode, put it away, haven't played it since. I don't know. So this game, Avatar Into the Inferno. I love Last Airbender. My son and I used to watch this all the time when he was a kid. And there's a new Korra series on Netflix or something. I haven't watched it yet. But, you know, it's very elemental based. Windbender, earthbender, firebender, waterbender, that kind of stuff. And you use those skills to solve puzzles. So maybe like Korra, she can freeze something and you can use that as a platform to walk over, or, you know, she can extinguish candles, so you can then use a wind technique to knock out a door, or whatever it is. You know, it's one of those kind of games. The controls in that game are really, really wonky. They take a long time to get used to. I got about halfway through the game and I finally kind of figured out how to use the controls. The tutorial section in this game does a very bad job of sort of setting you up for success and letting you learn the basic controls, but overall, I thought it was a really good game once you overcome that hurdle of learning the controls. It's you know, top-down, sort of isometric, and it's like cross-genre. It's a puzzler, a brawl, a beat-em-up, and a platformer. So there's a lot of things going on there. It's a great game, and it's the most expensive Last Airbender game on the PS2. Unfortunately, I think it's still like $30, but if you see it, you know, grab it. If you collect PS2 and you like that kind of thing. This is a game I was playing while Captain Algebra was playing Batman. I was playing Back to the Future, and I was about ready to rip my hair out. I could get to like Lou's Cafe, and then I get my butt kicked, and then I finally made it to the school, and I got my butt kicked, and then I made it to the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, got my butt kicked, and finally we were able to beat that game. Is it a bad game? Absolutely not. I love it. I thought it was a really good game. Yes, it's kind of challenging, but you can get through it if you practice. And yeah, I don't know what to say about Back to the Future. I am looking for the box for that because I have the box in the manual. So yeah, I don't know. I liked it. You know, it gets a lot of crap for being, you know, whatever. But yeah, I thought it was a great game. I don't know. All right, guys, here we go. Here are my top 5 games that I beat in 2020. All right, guys, here we go. Coming in at number 4, an old Nintendo tape. It's a shooter. Again, it's a game that I played through the first time this year. It is Dragon Spirit on the original Nintendo. Great game. And you want to talk about value, this game is still like a $10 game. We go to Maxine's Bargain Box right now. We can buy 5 copies of this for $10. I played it on the Sharp NES TV, and the sound and the way the graphics are absolutely amazing. There's 2 modes. There's like a normal mode and like a hard mode. We were able to play through both of those. Once you learn the normal mode or the easy mode, whatever it is, really the only difference is they add a couple levels. You know what I mean? So, but Dragon Spirit, so much fun to play. I never played it in the arcade. I think I've played it on the PS2, like one of those collections, like once or twice. And what a gem, man. Dragon Spirit. Great game. Have that in the collection forever. Coming in at number 4 is a game that I have wanted to beat my entire life. I've had it since I was a kid. We lost it to time. One of the lieutenants had a copy of it. He gave me his copy. So we were able to pin a loss on his copy of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Oh my God, so many great memories of this game. I love this game. This is another game of me in my collection forever. We also have the manual, by the way. Now, when I was a kid, I could make it all the way up to that first bull fight. And he would do the bull charge, and I would like try and jump and punch him in the face, try and punch him in the stomach, try and dodge and use a star, and I would just get wrecked. Until one day, when I was just throwing a punch. What am I gonna do? Just throw a punch, whatever. Screw this game. This is the last time I'm ever gonna play it. And for whatever reason, just throwing a jab, whatever, screw this game. I hit him in the stomach, and he did that animation where he went, ooh, and he fell down. I was like, oh my God, I can knock him down. Now, as a kid, I could still never get past Bold Bull. I couldn't do it consistently enough to actually win that circuit and go on to the major circuit or the world circuit. I made it my mission this year. I am going to beat this game because at some point I was able to beat Bold Bull and move on. And this is younger in adulthood. I beat Bold Bull, move on to that next circuit, and then I couldn't get past Soda Popinski. Couldn't get past Soda Popinski. So I looked it up. I was like, how many fights are left in this game? And I was like, wait, Soda Popinski, there's, who's that? Like Super Macho Man, Don. I was like, there's only like 5 fights left. So all I have to do is learn 5 fights. And I was like, you know what? We're going to do it this year. And this year was the year that we pinned a loss on Mike Tyson. Second round, TKO. Yeah! I mean, that's all you can really say, man. Makes you feel so good. Okay, so coming in at number 3, this game is so beautifully done that I had to jump it in front of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. But it is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. It's one of those Castlevania-esque games that also plays like a Metroid game where you have to do a lot of backtracking. Actually, it's a lot like Symphony of the Night. If you played Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Bloodstained is a lot like that. What a fun... It's just fun to play. Now, for me, there were like too many upgrade options and combine this and do that. Just play through it on the normal mode. Find some weapons that you can use to upgrade, like give you plus damage and use this for plus 3 defense and all that stuff. I thought, again, really well put together. And if you wanted to put in a bunch of hours finding everything and upgrading everything, doing all the side quests, you could. But if you just want to play, man, you can play right through this game with minimal upgrading and some grinding. Yeah, fantastic. Graphic-wise, on point. The soundtrack is absolutely amazing. I even liked the RPG elements, which I usually don't like, but like I said, it does it in a way where if you just want to play it with using light RPG stuff, you can do that. If you're a hardcore like level up this and find all the best armor and all this boots and all that crap, you can definitely do that. And you'll probably be a hell of a lot more powerful. But yeah, great game, man. I love that game. Okay, coming in at number 2, almost made it to number 1, but it didn't. So it's number 2. It's a Nintendo game that I've had my eye on for a while. It's a Sammy game. Tyler actually had a copy of it that he was trying to get rid of. He didn't have anybody that wanted to buy it on his eBay store, so I offered him like a boatload of trade just so I could get my hands on this game. It is Vice Project Doom. I watched a Michael B. the Game Genie video. God, this was like 5 years ago, and he talked about this game. It is it's another one of those cross-genre games. There's 2 levels that are top-down vehicle combat sort of gameplay, like Spy Hunter, right? I think that's the closest. And then there's 2 where it's like a first person with the reticle on the screen, like Operation Wolf. And then the majority of the game is a platformer. Now you get this, it's supposed to be a whip. There's like a laser whip, but it's actually, it feels like when you swing it like a sword, like it doesn't have any like whipping action to it, you know what I mean? But it's really cool because it starts behind you, so you can hit enemies that are behind you and above you. And then you have a gun and you have grenades, and you can switch between all 3 of those weapons at any time, right from Jump Street, and you use those to get past these certain obstacles and these bad guys in the levels. The boss fights were really fun. The last boss fight will drive you nuts because you have to fight a doppelganger of yourself and then the main bad guy. So you have to kind of do that all in one foul swoop. But the good thing is that the levels aren't very long, and it's typically like a stage, maybe a stage and a half's worth, and then you go to the boss, you know. So again, Infinite continues. This has got no death run territory all over it if I decide to do that. I think when I beat it the second time, I died twice because I got knocked into a pit, which you got to watch out for those. Ninja Gaiden Bounce Back, you know what I mean? Where sometimes you realize you forget that you even have a life bar because you fall into so many pits. But Vice Project Doom is an excellent game. If you can emulate it. If you can buy a physical copy, it's only like, $40, $50 for a copy. So yeah, great game. Glad to have it in the collection. Glad I played through it, actually. Really, really fun. Here we go. Got 1 game left. My favorite game that I beat this year, in my opinion, the best game that I beat this year, and I think some of you out there will agree with me. Again, brand new to this franchise. Never played a game in this franchise until this year when we played through Mafia 3 on the PlayStation 4. Whoa! What a great game. It plays like GTA, but I don't think it's as in-depth as GTA, which I kind of like. I like to just, hey, let's continue the story. If we want to do some side missions, we'll do that. But other than that, I'm not in on these super long GTA type games. But God, again, great game. Lincoln Clay, this guy, so he's a Vietnam vet. He did some wet works with the CIA. He gets out, he gets this bad mafia deal with the Italian mafia, and they kill his family. He survives, and then he goes on like this one-man vengeance-filled killing spree where he's just taking out all these bad guys, all these mafiosos. He's partnering up with people that he knows from his little community, and he's like, okay, you take the French Quarter part, and you take the business district, and then you're setting up your mafia, your own little empire. And then at the end, there's like a couple different choices you can make. And, oh yeah, okay. So there's a couple collectibles and things that you can do, like turn on all the switch boxes, which allows you to see parts of the map and where things are, including vintage Playboys. So you can collect the vintage Playboys. And I gotta be honest, and I know how this is gonna sound. It was fun to read the articles, because nobody wants to, and God bless them, nobody wants to see the ladies with beehives, nude. But there's like there's like articles from the Beatles in this. I'm like in on the articles, right? There's some other collectibles, some risque artwork and stuff like that you can collect. But oh my god, what a fun game! And so I got the regular version. Apparently, the regular version was so buggy and so bad that they had to do like a definitive version or something like that. So when I popped my standard version in, it didn't even download the standard version. It just downloaded the definitive version. So you basically got all the updates and all the other stuff for free with that. And I thought maybe that was a PS4 thing, but Tyler bought it on the Xbox One, and it did the same thing. It gave him the definitive version. So I may have picked this up at GameStop with my $5 free thing. And if I did, it's the best free game I think I've ever gotten in my life. So Mafia 3, number 1. Guys, that is going to do it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Those were the 30 new games that I beat in 2020. I'm looking forward to 2021 and digging in some of these boxes and finding some hidden gems. But tell me what games you beat this year. Leave a comment down below. Any game recommendations that maybe games I should play, leave a comment down below. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe, share on the social media machines. Bang that notification bell so you can stay up to date on all of your CM retro gaming goodness. And as always, take care of yourselves, and we will see you on the next one.